they of my son.
One of your sons, Tyrion thought. He took a sip of wine and said not a word, thinking of Jaime. He loved his brother, but he would not have wanted to be with him in the Whispering Wood for all the gold in Castle Rock. His lord father's assembled captains and bannermen had fallen very quiet as the courier told his tale. The only sound was the crackle and hiss of the log burning in the hearth.
"How could this happen?"
Sir Harry Swift moaned.
"How? Even after the Whispering Wood you had River Run ringed in iron, surrounded by a great host? What madness made Sir Jaime decide to split his men into 3 separate camps? Surely he knew how vulnerable that would leave them."
"I would have done the same," his uncle responded, a good deal more calmly than Tyrion might have. "You have never seen a river run, Sir Harris, or you would know that Jaime had little choice in the matter. The castle is situated at the end of the point of land where the Tumblestone flows into the Red Fork of the Trident. The rivers form 2 sides of a triangle, and when danger threatens, the Tullys open their sluice gates upstream to create a wide moat on the 3rd side, turning River Run into an island. The walls rise sheer from the water, and from the towers the defenders have a commanding view of the opposite shores for many leagues around. To cut off all the approaches, a besieger must need place 1 camp north of the Tumblestone, 1 south of the Red Fork, and a 3rd between the rivers west of the moat. There is no other way. None."
"Sir Kevin speaks truly, my lords," the courier said. "We'd built palisades of sharpened stakes around the camps, yet it was not enough, not with no warning, and the rivers cutting us off from each other. They came down on the north camp first. No one was expecting an attack. Mark Piper had been raiding our supply trains, but he had no more than 50 men. Sir Jaime had gone out to deal with them the night before. Well, with what he thought was them. We were told the Stark host was east of the Green Fork, marching south."
"And your outriders?" Sir Gregor Clegane's face might have been hewn from rock.
"They saw nothing? They gave you no warning?"
The blood-stained messenger shook his head.
"Our outriders had been vanishing. Mark Piper's work, we thought. The ones who did come back had seen nothing."
"A man who sees nothing has no use for his eyes," the mountain declared. "Cut them out and give them to your next outrider. Tell him you hope that 4 eyes might see better than 2, and if not, the man after him will have 6.
Lord Tywin Lannister turned his face to study Sir Gregor. Tyrion saw a glimmer of gold as the light shone off his father's pupils, but he could not have said whether the look was one of approval or disgust. Lord Tywin was oft quiet in council, preferring to listen before he spoke, a habit Tyrion himself tried to emulate. Yet this silence was uncharacteristic even for him.
"You say they came at night?"
Sir Kevin prompted. The man gave a weary nod.
"The Blackfish led the van, cutting down our sentries and clearing away the palisades for the main assault. By the time our men knew what was happening, riders were pouring over the ditch banks and galloping through the camp with swords and torches in hand. I was sleeping in the west camp between the rivers. When we heard the fighting and saw the tents being fired, Lord Brax led us to the rafts and we tried to pole across. But the current pushed us downstream and the Tullys started flinging rocks at us with the catapults on their walls. I saw one raft smashed to kindling and 3 others overturned, men swept into the river and drowned. And those who did make it across found the Starks waiting for them on the riverbank. The camp between the rivers was overrun as well, the messenger was saying. While we were trying to cross, more Starks swept in from the west, 2 columns of armoured horse. I saw Lord Umber's giant in chains and the Mallister Eagle, but it was the boy who led them, with a monstrous wolf running at his side. I wasn't there to see it, but it said the beast killed 4 men and ripped apart a dozen horses. Our spearmen formed up a shield wall and held against their first charge, but when the Tullys saw them engaged, they opened the gates of River Run, and Titus Blackwood led a sortie across the drawbridge and took them in the rear. God save us, Lord Lefford swore. Great John Umber fired the siege towers we were building, and Lord Blackwood found Sir Edmure Tully in chains among the other captives and made off with them all. Our south camp was under the command of Sir Fawley Prester. He retreated in good order when he saw that the other camps were lost, with 2,000 spears and as many bowmen. But the Tyroshi sellsword, who led his free riders, struck his banners and went over to the foe. Curse the man! His Uncle Kevin sounded more angry than surprised. I warned Jamie not to trust that one.
How could it happen?
Sir Harry Swift wailed again.
Sir Jamie taken, a siege broken. This is a catastrophe.
Sir Adam Marbrand said,
I'm sure we're all grateful to you for pointing out the obvious, Sir Harry. The question is, what should we do about it? What can we do? Jamie's house is all slaughtered, all taken, all put to flight, and the Starks and the Tullys sit squarely across our line of supply. We are cut off from the west. They can march on Castle Rock if they so choose, and what's to stop them? My lords, we are beaten. We must sue for peace.
Peace? Tyrion swirled his wine thoughtfully, took a deep draught, and hurled his empty cup to the floor, where it shattered into 1,000 pieces. There's your peace, Sir Arius. My sweet nephew broke it for good and all when he decided to ornament the Red Keep with Lord Eddard's head. You'll have an easier time drinking wine from that cup than you will convincing Robb Stark to make peace now. He's winning. Or hadn't you noticed?
2 battles do not make a war, Sir Adam insisted. We are far from lost. I should welcome the chance to try my own steel against this Stark boy.
Perhaps they would consent to a truce and allow us to trade our prisoners for theirs, offered Lord Lefford. Unless they trade 3 for 1, we still come out light on those scales, Tyrion said acidly. And what are we to offer for my brother? Lord Eddard's rotting head? I had heard that Queen Cersei has the Hand's daughters, Lefford said hopefully. If we give the lad his sisters back.
Sir Adam snorted disdainfully. He would have to be an utter ass to trade Jaime Lannister's life for 2 girls.
Then we must ransom Sir Jaime, whatever it costs, Lord Lefford said. Tyrion rolled his eyes. If the Starks feel the need for gold, they can melt down Jaime's armor.
If we ask for truce, they will think us weak, Sir Adam argued. We should march on them at once.
Lord Tywin Lannister rose to his feet.
They have my son,
he said once more, in a voice that cut through the babble like a sword through suet.
Leave me, all of you.
Ever the soul of obedience, Tyrion rose to depart with the rest. His father gave him a look.
Not you, Tyrion, remain. And you as well, Kevin. The rest of you, out. You have the right of it about Stark. Alive, we might have used Lord Eddard to forge a peace with Winterfell and Riverrun. A peace that would have given us the time we need to deal with Robert's brothers. Dead.
His hand curled into a fist.
Madness. Rank madness. Our position is worse than you know, his father went on. It would seem we have a new king.
A new who? What have they done to Joffrey?
Nothing. Yet. My grandson still sits the Iron Throne, but the eunuch has heard whispers from the south. Renly Baratheon wed Marjorie Tyrell at Highgarden this fortnight past, and now he has claimed the crown. The bride's father and brothers have bent the knee and sworn him their swords.
Those are grave tidings.
My daughter commands us to ride for King's Landing at once, to defend the Red Keep against King Renly and the Knight of Flowers. His mouth tightened. Commands us, mind you, in the name of the King and Council.
How is King Joffrey taking the news? Tyrion asked, with a certain black amusement.
Cersei has not seen fit to tell him yet, Lord Tywin said. She fears he might insist on marching against Renly himself.
With what army? Tyrion asked. You don't plan to give him this one, I hope.
He talks of leading the City Watch, Lord Tywin said.
If he takes the watch, he'll leave the city undefended, Sir Kevin said. And with Lord Stannis on Dragonstone...
Yes, Lord Tywin looked down at his son. I had thought you were the one made for Mutley, Tyrion, but it would appear that I was wrong.
Why, father, said Tyrion, that almost sounds like praise. He leaned forward intently. What of Stannis? He's the elder, not Renly. How does he feel about his brother's claim? His father frowned.
I felt from the beginning that Stannis was a greater danger than all the others combined. Yet he does nothing. All Varys hears his whispers. Stannis is building ships. Stannis is hiring sellswords. Stannis is bringing a Shadowbinder from Ashai. What does it mean? Is any of it true?
He gave an irritated shrug.
Kevin, bring us the map. Jaime has left us in a bad way. Roose Bolton and the remnants of his host are north of us. Our enemies hold the Twins and Moat Cailin. Robb Stark sits to the west, so we cannot retreat to Lannisport and the Rock unless we choose to give battle. Jaime is taken, and his army for all purposes has ceased to exist. Thoros of Myr and Beric Dondarrion continue to plague our foraging parties. To the east, we have the Arons. Stannis Baratheon sits on Dragonstone, and in the south, Highgarden and Storm's End are calling their banners.
Take heart, father. At least Rhaegar Targaryen is still dead.
I had hoped you might have more to offer us than japes, Tyrion.
Robb Stark will have Edmure Tully and the Lords of the Triton with him now. Their combined power may exceed our own, and with Roose Bolton behind us... Tywin, if we remain here, I fear we might be caught between three armies.
I have no intention of remaining here.
We must finish our business with young Lord Stark before Renly Baratheon can march from Highgarden.
Bolton does not concern me. He's a wary man, and we made him warier. On the Green Fork, he will be slow to give pursuit. So, on the morrow we make for Harrenhal. As you say, my lord, but why Harrenhal? That is a grim, unlucky place. Some call it cursed. Let them, Lord Tywin said. Unleash Sir Gregor and send him before us with his reavers. Send forth Vargo Holt and his free riders as well, and Sir Amory Lorch. Each is to have 300 horse. Tell them I want to see the river Rands of fire from the God's Eye to the Red Fork.
They will burn, my lord,